So today we are filming in olive groves from central Portugal, and the aim of this movie is to show you another, let's say, indirect measure that can contribute to mitigate risks of pesticides. So we have seen that not only measures implemented into the management of the crops themselves do contribute to the increase of natural enemies of the pests, and thus to a decrease in pesticide use. But in this case, the major aim is to talk to you about the influence of the landscape surrounding the crop. So basically, the idea here in this video is to show you evidence that the complexity of the landscape can have a positive influence in the diversity and the abundance of the natural enemies. So thus indirectly contributing to a decrease in pesticide use, thus to mitigate the risks of those use of those pesticides. Let's start by knowing which are the main pests attacking olive groves.
So in olive groves, the main pests, we can say that we have two key pests for the olive groves. We have first the olive fruit fly, that is Bactrocera olea, that is important worldwide, and the olive moth, that is Praes olea, which have importance in Portugal, Spain, a little bit in Italy. So it is, for us it is important, but in other countries it is not as important as in Portugal. We can have also secondary pests, such as the black scale, Cicessia olea, and Euphilura olivina, that is the an hemipteran pest.
What management measures to increase pest control agents can a producer adopt?
So if the objective is to decrease the level of the pest, starting with the olive fruit fly. The olive fruit fly is a pest that stays on the soil during the winter. So we need to manage the soil in a sense that the Epigean organism have conditions to increase their populations. So species like or groups of species like spiders, carabids should have populations in the sense of feed on those pests. In other way, if we consider the adults of the olive fruit fly, we can increase the levels of spiders that are on the canopy because they can capture some individuals of the fly. For the olive moth, the olive moth has 3 generations throughout the year, and we can increase groups of enemies that feed on eggs and on larvae of this pest. So groups of natural enemies such as chrysopids should increase in the tree, and the adult stage of these insects feed on pollen, feed on nectar of the flowers. So we need to maintain this kind of species on the soil in order to feed these adults.
This means that maintaining a constant natural ground cover is important for the maintenance of these pest control agents. In intensive olive groves, producers usually leave vegetation in their interrow, but not in the row, usually by applying herbicides or doing mechanical weeding. But on more traditional ones, management is done differently. Let's hear how a local producer with a traditional olive grove manages this understory vegetation.
Então, a nível de pesticidas, não aplicamos rigorosamente nada. E o controle do solo, como é que nós fazemos? Como a exploração tem uma inclinação muito elevada, então nós todos os anos trazemos um senhor com um trator de rastros que nos mobiliza uma parte da exploração. Vamos dividindo por áreas, habitualmente fazemos entre os 7 e os 10 hectares, nunca mais que isso, porque senão depois os animais também não têm comida para comer, e é assim que nós fazemos a gestão. A nível, as ovelhas comem tudo, porque são animais que não são... comem exceto cardos ou uma outra coisa, mas é difícil haver alguma coisa que a ovelha não coma. Depois temos também algum mato, costumamos deixar zonas de mato por causa também dos insetos, das joaninhas, as crisopas, temos muita joaninha, temos muitas crisopas, e pronto, acho que é a única coisa que fazemos. A lenha de poda é o maior problema. A lenha de poda habitualmente arrastamos para um caminho e queimamos nos caminhos. Não costumamos queimar assim no meio do olival, vamos queimando no caminho que temos mais perto.
Quando falou em que a pessoa que vocês contratam, quando falou em mobilizar, implica destroçar e deixar na...
Sim. Ele traz...
O sol não é agradável.
Não. Ele traz uma frese. O trator de rastros tem uma frese e depois vai moendo tudo e tudo fica no solo.
And what about the influence of the landscape composition in affecting the dynamics of the pests and of the pest control agents?
Patches of natural habitat at the landscape scale can influence pest population in 3 ways. The first is related with the resource concentration hypothesis that tell us that large expansive monoculture can provide a suitable environment for the pests to spread easily and build population. In this sense, a natural habitat can stop this dispersion of the pests, thus avoiding them and preventing the growth of the population of the pests. Also, natural habitats can provide, as I said, shelter, pollen, alternative prey for natural enemies of pests for they to be ready in the moment when the pest appears in the crop. And third, it can be a negative effect because these natural habitats can also provide resources for pests, so they can be pest promoters and they can also increase pest population within the crop. So it is important to see how for each pest, how natural habitat affects it and the way that we can control through the landscape.
Do we have empirical evidences of this effect of landscape composition and configuration influencing the population of pest control agents and how it can condition the application of plant protection products?
The study that I performed in vineyards, we only look into the population of the pests, and we detect that simplifying landscape, which is our monocultures, increase pest outbreaks and the frequency of these pest outbreaks, and with these, the frequencies of pesticide use. So we attribute this to those hypotheses that I said, and also because simplified landscape can lack natural enemies, and also can provide a better environment for the pests to spread and to build rapidly build population in the way they can outbreak and be a really problem for farmers. From one landscape that was completely, we make circles, buffers, to measure the landscape of 2 kilometers around the focal crop. And for those landscapes that only have vineyards, the use of pesticides double those compared with those landscapes that has some degree of natural habitat within this circle. Okay, so the increase can be really important.
But data also exists for these olive groves as well. In a recent study performed in this area embracing 25 olive groves, analyzing the influence of landscape structure in the dynamics of the olive moth, Praise olea, and of the chrysopid Chrysoperla carnea, it was shown that the promoting landscape diversity through increasing diversity of land uses in the vicinities of the olive groves directly decreased the population size of the pests in the olive groves and potentially increased the population of the predator. Overall, like in other crops, also in olive groves, we know that it is necessary to maintain a balance between the population size of both the pests and of the pest control agents, because pest control agents need pests. So the aim is to maintain pest levels below the economic threshold level, and a complementarity of measures, including adopting indirect measures of maintaining a proper vegetation cover and managing the landscape in such a way that we can promote pest control agents, should be included in the management package to adopt.